Oh, Kody, you charm us all with your deep insights. I'm here with my shy and pretty wife. My one pretty wife, and she's shy, and she's not shy with me. We have a very special bond. Gag me. Seriously, I almost choked on my own disgust. And let's talk about this shy part. What a joke. Robin's over there putting on a performance, and Kody's eating it up like he's watching a Hallmark movie. It's pathetic. I practically died laughing when all his other pretty wives bolted. Bye, Felicia. The truth? Robin didn't start playing the shy act until after she ruined everything by backing Kody's insane control trip. But hey, I guess history can be rewritten when you conveniently forget that we can still rewatch those seasons where Robin was strutting in like a boss, full of sass and zero shyness. Honestly, Kody and Robin really need to give up on the whole rebranding thing. No woman who leaves the house looking like that, those brows, is playing the shy card. Please, Robin, you're not fooling anyone. We've got so much to dive into today, so let's not waste any time. Let's jump straight into it. Hey everyone, what's up? It's Elena here, and welcome back to my channel Reality Nexus X. My 7-year-old is funnier than my grandkids. Wait, what? Seriously? What kind of comment is that? It's not a competition, Kody. David was just making a harmless joke about how much fun grandkids are, and suddenly Kody turns it into a bizarre rivalry. Also, why is he calling the babies his bandidos? Who does that? Let's be real, Kody can't hold his own with other men. The guy was making that ridiculous tough guy monkey face the whole time. It's no wonder he's practically non-existent with his adult sons. He can't boss them around, so he just stays away. His whole power trip only works on women, and even that's slipping fast. Every conversation has to be a competition for Kody. He's always got to come out on top, even if it's completely pointless. It's painfully obvious that he's awkward around actual people, those who don't fall for his intimidation tactics. The guy clearly doesn't have a strong relationship with most of his kids, even though the cameras are rolling. But hey, he's still out here trying to convince everyone he picked the right wife. Spoiler alert, that's not going too well. Oh, and the jab at Christine and David, it was classic Kody. He had to remind everyone that he's got a younger wife with little tenders, while David and Christine are just stuck being grandparents. What he conveniently forgets is that Christine has Truly, who Kody conveniently ignores, because she doesn't fit into his little narrative. It was a dumb remark, honestly. Christine and Meri's embrace at Gwen's engagement party? Yeah, it made me tear up a bit. When they hugged and exchanged those heartfelt words of love, it was such an unexpected, emotional moment. I know they're not going to be best friends anytime soon, but it's clear they've reached a place where they can genuinely wish each other well. And honestly, I think that's all you can ask for in a situation like this. Anyone else feel that way? For me, that was easily the best part of the episode. It wasn't something anyone saw coming, and it hit all the right emotional notes. Kody, though, really did his best to fuel the drama between his wives. Instead of encouraging unity, he stoked the insecurity fires. He created an environment where most of the women felt like they were constantly competing for attention, except Janelle, who's been pretty solid in her own corner. Kody thrived on being the big man on campus, playing off their discomfort and making sure he was always the one in control. I think Tupac's words pretty much sum up where Christine and Meri stand now. I want to see you eat, just not at my table. There's mutual respect, but also an understanding that they're in different places now, and that's okay. That hug, though, it was so telling, especially when Meri said, "I love you" first. You could see how much she needed that moment. She really held onto that hug. It wasn't just about divorcing Kody. It was about mourning a life she thought she'd have, a future that's now slipping away. Meri's doing this whole separation journey largely on her own. Leon's got their own life. The other wives are distant. and the one who's still talking to her is likely trying to guilt her about her decision. It's a lonely place to be. Meri's made the wise choice not to jump into another relationship like Christine did. Sure, Christine got to surround herself with her kids and dive right into dating, but she never really had to sit with that feeling of loneliness. That deep ache of realizing the future you've been building for 30 years is gone. For Christine, it's all about how much better things are on the other side. But for Meri, it's about learning to move forward without that ideal future ever coming true. The transition is hard. It's like burying something that was a huge part of your life for decades. So yeah, that hug wasn't just a hug. It was two women acknowledging that they're both grieving in different ways, but also finding strength in each other's resilience. Once again, Aspen proves she's the only adult in the room. It's honestly kind of wild that after 9 episodes of David, well, 11 if you count the wedding special, Aspen is the only one who's even mentioned that David will be involved in raising Truly. She's also had to repeat, over and over, how thrilled she is for her mom, only to be met with Christine's classic response. Good, 'cause even if you weren't, I wouldn't care. Seriously, Aspen and Logan are the ultimate child development success stories, considering the absolute mess their parents put them through. And Christine? She looks at Aspen more like a co-parent than a daughter. If she actually saw her as a daughter, she might not brush off her concerns. Let's be real, Aspen was one of the relationships Christine was straight up jealous of, especially when she figured out that marriage could actually look different from what she thought. Honestly, I'm surprised Aspen isn't the one needing back surgery by now after carrying the entire weight of her family's drama, including her mother's. Christine relied on her way too much, and no child should ever have to take on that burden. You can't blame it on Kody being MIA either. Christine knew full well that polygamy meant Kody wouldn't be around much. But still, she dumped all her emotional baggage on Aspen. No wonder Aspen doesn't have kids of her own. She's probably just enjoying the freedom of being an adult who's finally free from that mess. So Meri and Janelle decided to hang out yesterday, and of course, Meri had to make it official with a Facebook Live today. She has this thing called Meri Loves Mondays where she goes live, because why not make Mondays a little more merry? During her live, she casually mentioned that she was in North Carolina for a wedding. And oh, by the way, she and Janelle spent some time together yesterday. I found it pretty interesting that on the very same Sunday we saw footage of them chatting, likely from a year or two ago. They decided to hang out again. Coincidence? Who knows? But at least they're not out there tearing each other apart. I'm all for a little unity where I can find it. And speaking of warm moments, can we talk about how my heart melted seeing Christine and Meri hug each other and say, "I love you" at Gwen's engagement party in the last episode? After everything they've been through, especially with all the manipulation and drama from Kody, it was so touching. I mean, 20 to 30 years together is a long time. None of them were in the wrong. I just wish they could see that fully. I truly hope the best for the original 3 and the kids. They deserve it. I don't hate David. In fact, I think he genuinely mourned his wife's passing. He raised his kids on his own, and I'm sure he dated a ton of women afterward, but none of them seemed to match up to what he was really looking for. Then, when he met Christine, I honestly believe they both fell in love, but especially him. I've seen a lot of people criticize him, claiming he did it for attention, the show, or even money. But I really don't buy that. If there's any truth to that, it seems minimal at best. When David said he wasn't moving fast, I think what he meant was that he had waited so long for the right one. For him, when he found Christine, it was like, boom, I found her, let's do this. I really think it comes down to Christine though. She was looking for her soulmate, and if anything, she might have moved too quickly. I'd love to hear what you all think about this take. Whether it's about David, Christine, or their relationship. I just think David seems to genuinely worship and love Christine, and he's not afraid to shout it from the rooftops. Honestly, that's exactly what Christine, and any woman who's been emotionally neglected or abused in past relationships needs. She deserves to be adored like that. I also think Christine's upbringing played a big role in how she views relationships. She was raised to be family-focused, man-focused, and children-focused. These days, not many women hold those same views, but honestly, a lot of men still want that in a partner, especially if they've been alone for a while. Men like being taken care of in their own way, just like women do. I'm not surprised David was willing to move quickly once he found someone like Christine, who was willing to put him first and be vulnerable. I like Janelle, I really do, but honestly, if I were Meri, I wouldn't. I mean, when you're looking for a husband, your ex-sister-in-law's husband really should be off the table. Assuming Meri liked her brother and heard his side during the divorce, how do you go from that to no problem? Welcome to the family. It's kind of like one of those AITA posts where your brother marries your high school bully. Was there no one else to choose from? I think people have this idea that Janelle is some kind of badass or financial genius, but honestly, I don't buy it. I don't even think she's that great at mothering, which is why Christine ended up being so involved in the kids' lives. She recognized that Christine made her life easier by taking on a big chunk of the childcare. There were plenty of times when Janelle would go off to the movies, and Christine was left holding down the fort with the kids. Now, don't get me wrong, she can go to the movies if she wants to. But this whole persona of Janelle being some kind of warrior woman just doesn't ring true to me. She ended up in a horrible financial situation, and now she's gaslighting us into thinking that the big, ugly mansion in Flagstaff was all they could afford. Please? She's just trying to save face and hold on to this image that she's smart and independent. The reality is, she got royally screwed by a couple of idiots. And as for Kody, he lights up a room. I'm not sure what everyone sees in him, but I just don't get it. As for Janelle, I see a pick-me girl who's willing to let herself be treated poorly, all while pretending she's never been mistreated. She can't even put her foot down when it matters most, like with her kids' futures. She's still playing the I don't want to say divorce game, which is just weak. Honestly, I think she's the weakest of all the wives. And let's not even get started on how giddy Janelle got about Meri's husband. The fact that she was willing to get involved with him, knowing she wasn't even part of the faith, is next-level creepy. I do think, culturally, her going after Kody wasn't totally out of line in their faith, but the way she went about it was all kinds of wrong. She approached Kody first, instead of Meri, and it sounded like it kind of happened behind Meri's back. Then they even tried to get married on Meri's birthday. Talk about disrespect. And the whole way she handled the situation, avoiding confrontation and communication, only caused more resentment. She got pregnant pretty quickly, which isn't her fault, but that's a situation that should have been handled delicately, and I doubt it was. No wonder Meri doesn't trust her. Kody and Robin holding the twins. I can't help but think they're holding onto those babies a little tighter than usual for security reasons. It's like their way of looking involved without actually engaging with anyone in the room. Plus, it keeps the other kids from coming up to them and causing a scene. Apparently, this little tactic was still in play at Gwen's wedding reception. They made a beeline toward Mykelti's kids, putting on the involved grandparent act, all while keeping the rest of the family at arm's length. Classic move, pretend to be the doting grandparents to save face, but stay out of the drama. When Janelle and Meri were discussing the finances, it was clear that there's a lot of secrecy swirling around the Brown family's money matters. Janelle mentioned that everyone assumes she's in charge of the finances, which Meri seemed surprised by because apparently that's not the case. Then Meri casually says she's not concerned with protecting herself financially, which makes you wonder why she's not more concerned, given everything happening around her. So the question is, are Kody and Robin the only ones in the know about the family finances? Janelle's justified in being concerned, especially considering how slow Kody's been about paying off the property. There's clearly a reason he's dragging his feet. It seems like he's making it difficult for Meri and Janelle to get back the money they loaned for the house and the property. Selling the house and buying a new one just adds another layer of complexity, especially with the court potentially deciding on the financials. But what gets me is Meri's lack of concern. Janelle clearly tried to have a conversation with her to form some sort of alliance and defend their financial stakes. But Meri, she declined. Why? Maybe it's because she's just not willing to rock the boat, or maybe she doesn't want to get involved in any drama with Janelle. But honestly, is it really just about protecting her own interests? It seems more like she's just avoiding confrontation, especially when you think about how last season Kody flat out said that Christine's lot would belong to him. If that doesn't make it clear they're not handling things fairly, I don't know what does. Meri's determination to stay out of the ex-wives club might be because she can't let go of her need for approval from Kody and Robin. It almost feels like she's deliberately staying neutral, maybe even out of spite for Janelle and Christine, but more likely because she's hoping to stay on Kody and Robin's good side. I get the impression that Meri and Kody made some sort of unspoken agreement not to shit-talk each other behind closed doors. Meri probably saw Janelle as trying to undermine that silent pact, and that's why she didn't want to team up. And another thing, why did Christine's CP property go to Kody and Robin, and not to Meri and Janelle too? Wasn't the whole idea that it was going back into family money? If that's the case, shouldn't all of them have a say in what happens with it? It just seems like there's a lot more going on behind the scenes than anyone's letting on. I don't get why some of the kids are acting like David is ancient. He's bald, sure, but that doesn't automatically make him old. Unlike Kody, who's desperately clinging to his thinning hair, David's just embracing the bald look. Maybe that's throwing people off. But honestly, Kody's not aging well at all, and David? Personality-wise, he's miles ahead of Kody. It's weird that they're so focused on age instead of what actually matters. Like how David is actually a present, involved father who raised his kids. Meanwhile, Kody's only interested in Robin, his shy, beautiful wife, barf. Seriously, if we're comparing Kody and David, David's the clear winner in every department. And let's be real, I think there's actually a bigger age gap between Kody and Robin than between David and Christine. That just irritates me a little. Why focus on David's age when Kody's the one with the questionable age gap and behavior? Wouldn't it be just perfect if Kody and Robin got audited? I mean, surely that conversation was staged for the cameras, right? Meri can't really believe that Kody and Robin wouldn't screw her over, can she? But hey, let's not dwell on that too much. Their finances? Oh, they're straight out of a cult's handbook. No one has any idea where the money comes from or where it goes. Meanwhile, Kody's living in the McMansion, letting everyone believe that Janelle's the one with the purse strings. Classic move. Here's a pro tip from someone who actually knows their way around numbers. Maybe don't throw around the term creative financing on national television. A little risky. Now, I'm not saying it's a given, but tax authorities, both state and federal, love to take a look at public comments as a way to start sniffing around. For example, I once worked with a guy who had a CEO client from out of state ring the opening bell at the NYSE. A little while later, guess who got a notice? Because of that one day of fame, he was now required to file a New York return. Public appearances are like a neon sign for tax authorities. Hey, we might need to check in on this one. So, while I'm rambling a bit here, bottom line, with all the financial mystery swirling around the family, combined with their very public oops moments, they're looking like prime candidates for an audit at this point. Kody is such a genius, isn't he? Just started watching the newest episode, and honestly, I don't know how much more of this I can take. First off, it's always bugged me how he can't pronounce basic words correctly. And then there's the gem where he calls an 80% a D. No, Kody, that's not how grades work. Definitely not how they work. Now he's going on about the snow. 8 foot. No, genius. It's either 1 foot or 8 feet. Get it right. But wait, it gets better. He's shocked that his truck got hit with a shovel. Why, Kody? Why are you surprised? You are actively encouraging all that horsing around with shovels right next to your truck. You were even shoveling the truck yourself. I really hope that shovel left a dent, and honestly, I'd love if all that shoveling left some nice scratches on his precious truck. And let's be real here, if the cameras weren't rolling, whoever hit that truck would have been chewed out and reduced to tears. The only reason he's holding back is because he's trying to look like a decent human being for the camera. All right, I've got to finish this hot mess of an episode. It's a lot to handle. Watching that conversation between Meri and Janelle was painful. You could almost feel Janelle trying to create space for Meri to open up, share her feelings, and be real. But instead, Meri just seems to hold back. It's like she wants to feel left out, doesn't trust that Janelle's offering her room to speak, and ends up protecting Kody's interests. Yet Kody hasn't shown a single ounce of care for her emotions or well-being for the past decade. Janelle, on the other hand, seems to be reaching for something. Maybe solidarity or at least transparency, and it just falls flat. It's almost like polygamy has completely warped Meri's ability to trust her sister wives. At least Janelle and Christine seem to have a real connection, but Meri, not so much. Which honestly is understandable given how they first met a younger, less mature version of her. It's just odd, because when you see Meri in other contexts, she comes off as warmer, more open, and welcoming. I'm just frustrated, honestly. This conversation should have been a chance for growth. It could have been the olive branch to a new kind of relationship. One where they acknowledge each other's struggles and maybe even bond over them. Instead, it feels like the same old dynamic of distance and awkwardness. It's disappointing because I really thought this could have been a moment for them to move forward. Is it just me, or does anyone else feel the same way? How is Kody shocked about the whole abandonment thing? How does this man go on television and admit that he's been stringing her along, showing zero interest in her, waiting for her to catch up and realize what's going on, telling her to move to Utah, and literally using their anniversary as an excuse to not take her out? Then he has the nerve to say, "Oh, but I didn't abandon her." Like, really? I mean, come on. If I were Meri, I'd be petty enough to just play the footage back for him. And don't even get me started on when he called Christine's dad crying. I would have just quoted him right back, like, "Sacrifices to love you." Time wasted. It's like, all right, Kody, Mrs. Nesbitt is about to come out, so maybe dial it down a notch. Honestly, he's such a flipping moron. It's astounding. Let me know what you think in the comments. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you in the next video. Take care and much love to you all.